Hi everyone, Tony Tonkin here from Wise, Witty and Weird, hoping that you can join us for an interesting chat. And I do say us today because I'm excited to have my buddy, my mate, my friend, my colleague, my mentor, Avery is here.
Hi. How are you, Tony?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Things are looking good now that we're no longer locked down as we have been.
Yeah, we've still got some pretty strong restrictions, but yeah, we're not locked down. That is good.
Yes, it was. I was feeling a wee bit down this morning, and then Dee decided to go for a walk down to the shop, so I went down and picked her up. And actually, after getting out and wandering around, and everybody was wearing masks. There was not an exception to the rule. Everybody was wearing masks, and I felt we were a united community at last.
Certainly in South Australia, whether they are in New South Wales with the nice gentleman that we're going to be talking about shortly, I don't think so much.
No, they've got another 4 weeks.
Yeah, just announced this morning. I watched the New South Wales press conference, and I watched the SA one, and the difference between Marshall here in SA and Berejiklian in New South Wales, it's chalk and cheese.
It is a bit. It is a bit, isn't it? And I'm not a Marshall fan because I don't like anyone in authority, and his name is Marshall. So, but I do like the way he's presented himself during this virus.
I think he's done a much better job than Berejiklian, definitely better than Andrews as well in Victoria.
Yeah. Look, I know this might be a contentious point with you, but I feel sorry for Daniel, for Andrews, because he just gets so much flack, and he does do. So I think Andrew does the right things, but does it in a way that gets everybody upset. He locked down early and did okay, and then they had those leakages earlier on in the year, which caused another outbreak, and he gets slapped for that, which I suppose he deserves to get slapped for that. But I don't mind him too much.
It's not what he's done. It's his presentation that lets him down.
Yeah, well, I think his presentation's okay, Avery.
Oh, personally, I don't. And when I see him in his fingertip length jacket, it reminds me of what in England we used to call bother boys in the 1950s.
What were they?
They were young thugs.
Right. No, there's one thing. He looks more like a nerd than a thug. Pardon me.
It was the jacket that I see him wearing. It's halfway down his thigh.
Well, this is true, but then I can appreciate that you're concerned about a person's appearance.
All the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, the point is we're no longer locked down. We're doing okay. And I don't know how long we're supposed to wear masks for. Forever? Or do you think it's going to be just the norm?
It's going to. I think that people are going to just get used to the idea we've got to wear masks. Yeah. COVID is not going to go away, even when we get to herd immunity. 85% of the population vaccinated, something like that, is herd immunity. We never got to herd immunity with polio or smallpox. Never did anything. We eradicated smallpox through mass vaccination programs.
But back in those days, Avery, they haven't heard of immunity. Sorry, I had to throw that in. But there was I don't know whether they know of such a thing.
Herd immunity, it's been known for a long time.
Well, how long is a long time?
Well, like in the 1950s, they were talking about it with polio.
Yeah, and were they talking about it in 1918?
Probably not in 1918, but in 1918 they were more concerned with rebuilding after World War One. Trying to fight the Spanish flu, which didn't start in Spain. It started in the United States.
I know. Do you think there was a Donald Trump around at that time who just decided to name it after a country?
Or an Alan Jones.
Yeah, well, two wankers together. What do you get if you get two wankers together? A gay party.
Okay.
Whoops, I just made that up too. So,
Ah.
and I do it.
You should probably give up your day job.
I was trying.
Not give up your day job.
I was trying to enhance the witty part of our
It didn't
name.
work.
All right. Okay. And I do apologise for all of those people that may have been offended by Avery's comment. So anyway, look, we're heading towards something pretty exciting. Like we'll have to wear masks forever, but I guess that's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
In this country.
I mean, it's you go to a lot of the Asian countries, and you go to China, go to Japan. Korea. People wear masks all the time.
Yeah.
As a guy, when I was the company I used to work for, we had a guy start work for us. He was a migrant from, I don't know I think it was China, might be in Hong Kong, which is still China.
That's true.
The first day that he started, he was wearing a face mask, and every day for the 3 years that he was working there until I retired, he wore a face mask.
Yeah.
I don't know what he looks like from here,
yeah, you don't. Yeah, I think there was a time when you couldn't wear masks. Oh, isn't this funny? You couldn't wear masks into banks. Now you can't go into a bank unless you've got a mask on.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? Hey, what do I call this show? I called it something about Jones. I'm just changing the heading.
An expert on everything.
What did I call it? That's right, Tony Jones, an expert on everything.
Alan Jones.
Alan Jones. Tony Jones is fucking. Oh shit! I shouldn't swear. Alan Jones, expert. I'm just changing the title because I realised I put it all on today without. Normally I go into YouTube and put in a title and other stuff, and I didn't this time. And lo and behold, the string key that I put in just automatically set it off. So. That's interesting, but then the title and everything was wrong. So anyway, I've just changed all of that, which is bloody exciting. And I'm sure everybody who's watching this, the thousands of people, Avery, you'd be pleased to know that there's no one watching us on YouTube at the moment.
Wonderful.
So isn't that? It's just like we can have these conversations to ourselves.
Yeah.
And no one does give a shit. To be honest. Okay. Did you have a look at this clip the other day?
I heard it last night.
You did? All right. And what was your response after you heard it?
Lots of F-bombs.
All right. Yep. I agree.
He, as the title that you put on there, an expert on everything, he thinks he knows everything about everything.
Yeah, I thought that there was a meme that came up on Facebook. I wonder if I could find that said, so it listed all the experts, like the qualifications you need, like a expert in this and an expert in that and a PhD in this, and then you've got those like Alan Jones who probably barely struggled to get through school, even though he did go to a private school, I hasten to add, but that doesn't mean he was smart, brilliant or clever. But all these other guys that Paddy have made through, like I'd like to know what Paul Murray's education standard is.
I can find out.
Just do a quick search for us, Avery, and let us know what that clown, what his qualifications are, apart from being a jerk, because that would be interesting to know. Alan Jones, I don't know what his background is either, apart from the fact that he went to a private school, he's got a spoon stuff up his ass.
Okay, Paul Murray went to the University of Sydney, I think I just saw.
Yep.
Where is it? Doesn't say much about him on the Wikipedia articles. Not. He went to Guildford Primary School, Guildford Grammar School.
He went to a grammar school, did he? So
he started studying no, this can't be the same one. Oh yeah, it is, journalist, yeah. He initially studied geology at the University of Western Australia. Then he worked as a mine geologist in Kalgoorlie.
So he's a geologist by profession? No,
because he initially studied it. Doesn't say he finished it, but seeing as how he worked as a mine geologist in Kalgoorlie, I guess that he's
got rocks in his head? Is that what you're about to say?
Well, he might have. I didn't say that, but he probably has got a degree, I'd guess, because of that in in geology or earth science. He then took a cadetship at the Western Australia in 1970, and through the 70s worked variously from its Fremantle, Kalgoorlie, Perth, Sydney, and Melbourne offices. He worked for the Western Mail. Oh, is this talking to us? West Australian. Yeah.
There's not a picture of him.
This must be a different Paul Murray. It can't possibly be the one. Paul Murray, journalist. No. Oh,
Paul Murray.
Hang on. Disambiguation. Go there. Paul Murray, presenter. Paul Murray, presenter. He went to the Epping Boys High School and he went to the University of Sydney. So I was talking about the wrong one. There's too many Paul Murrays. Does it say what he was? Personal life? No, it doesn't say what he studied, but he went to the University of Western Sydney.
All right. Okay. So he's gone to university, but we don't know whether he finished. Is that it?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
We don't know what he studied. We don't know whether he finished it. Alan Jones, he went to Toowoomba Grammar School, Kelvin Grove Teachers College, University of Queensland, where he earned a BA, but it doesn't say what in, and he studied at the University of Oxford on a non-degree course.
All right. So what's a non-degree course? Is that like a course that you do just to say that you've gone to Oxford College, Oxford University, but don't necessarily have to graduate from anything?
That's exactly what it is.
Is that what that means?
I could say I've got a non-degree. I went to the University of Cambridge with a non-degree course.
Well, you don't need to say a non-degree course. You say I went to the University of Cambridge.
Yeah, but I would be honest and say I wasn't studying for a degree when I went there.
Yeah, and I best so really what we're saying is that both of these dudes haven't got a distinct, easy to find record of any of their education background, really.
No.
Okay, so that's quite evident because they're crazy people. But there again, crazy people. I was having a chat with my wife about this today, Avery, and that conspiracy theorists aren't all uneducated, because I've got a very close family member, namely my sister, and her two. I can feel safe saying this stuff here because no one watches us,
Yep.
So I can say this stuff until somebody does, and then spread the link, and then Jesus. Anyway, she's educated. She's got a degree in social sciences. Her sons have got degrees as well, in a variety of fields, but they've got degrees. They're smart people. But God, they're inundated with conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
like it's taken over their lives.
Having a degree does not mean that you are smart. It means you're good at passing exams, and you're good at writing a thesis or a dissertation.
Well, I've never been good at passing exams, so I don't know how in the hell I got my degree then.
Yeah. Well,
must have fluked it in.
I could, if I wish, put MA after my name. I could, if I wish, put BSc after my name. I don't bother because they're just courses that I did because I wanted to do them. Didn't use them for work or anything like that.
So they're not significant in terms of your professionality.
No.
No.
I did the MA in English, but just because I love the language, and I got hooked on earth sciences, so I did a bachelor's degree in earth sciences.
Well, I've got a BSW, which I just used to tell people says that I'm a bullshit worker.
Yeah. I'd like a BMW.
Would you? You don't want to be a bullshit worker. Okay.
No, definitely not.
All right.
We've got enough of that with Alan Jones and Paul Murray.
We do. I just got to try and find him again now.
And Andrew Bolt.
Yeah, my God, don't they have? There's a trio, and there's Chris Kenny, and then there's other silly woman who I could never. There's Shari, somebody or other. There's another woman who dresses up like a Christmas cake. That comes on, and I forget.
There's that female that writes for the Telegraph.
Yeah.
Dark-haired female.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, right.
Who is just disgraceful? Oh, it's just disgraceful.
And there's a woman that often appears with Rowan Dean.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An Iranian Iranian Australian.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
Yeah.
We can start off with this Alan Jones clip, and if you want to stop me for any particular reason, just let me know. We'll have it running in the background. I could have had our little photographs sort of at the top and the bottom, couldn't I, to let people know we were watching it at the same time. I hope this comes across now. I haven't checked it. Anyway, we'll play it, and then you let me know if you want to stop.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
I have to confess I'm immensely disturbed at the way government has spoken about people in Struggle Street and ignored their plight, like Andrew's just outlined there. Congratulations to Victoria. The lockdown will be lifted tonight, but some restrictions stay in place. Check them out as they apply to you. But this obsession with masks...
Now, Avery, I just need to say that are they the voice of the voiceless? What do you think of that opening comment? We are the voice of the voiceless.
He claims it, but one thing the first thing that I immediately noticed is that he has said something that's true. He said he was profoundly disturbed.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, well, yes. Well, let's move on. It didn't actually. Interesting enough,
he's not the voice of the people.
It didn't take long for us to find something to criticise, did it? Like, he was into it for 20 seconds, and here we go.
Yep.
Okay, let's see what else.
Masks exists with very limited epidemiological evidence. Masks will remain mandatory in Victoria inside and out. In New South Wales, masks are also mandatory. Well, Professor Colin Axon is a leading advisor to the British government, a member of the Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies. He has said that masks do very little to protect from coronavirus.
Okay. Let's just have a conversation about that, Avery. So he picks. This is what he does. It fascinates me knowing. So he picks a guy who, when you look up, they're not the expert that he says they are to start with. You know, I've looked up some of the people who's good. They've been struck off medical associations and, you know, prevented from practicing because they're wacko. Yep. You know, he should be kicked off being a frigging journalist if that's what he thinks he is, because he's just as wacko as the other people. But
yeah.
So what was the issue I was raising? That he was saying. What was he saying?
He was claiming people were experts in the field and they're not reliable, or they're not in a position that holding a position that he claims that they are. Yeah,
because there's this discussion around whether masks prevent the virus. Well, actually, masks aren't supposed to prevent the virus. They're supposed to cut down on the possibility of you spraying your shit over to somebody else and them inhaling it.
Yeah, they reduce the risk. One of the things about people like Alan Jones is, have you heard it? I'm sure you've heard of it. There's a logical fallacy called confirmation bias.
Yep.
He believes that masks are a waste of time, and so he looks around to find somebody who says that somebody who's a doctor, for example, in this case, who says masks are a complete and utter waste of time. They don't do anything to protect you, and he ignores the thousands of other medical professionals, all the epidemiologists who actually study this shit, and say, yeah, masks. They don't say masks prevent you getting it. They say they reduce the risk. But he ignores that lot, and he sees that one that confirms what he already thinks is the case, and that's the one he uses. Jones lacks the guts to go and get somebody like Fauci from the United States, or even here, Nicola Spurrier in South Australia. Why doesn't he talk to her and ask her what she thinks about masks?
Well, because he has decided that going to another country, like this is what we do. You see, this is the Australian thing, because you've got to go to another country to get their best people, because it is clear that we're stupid enough not to have any best people whatsoever.
Well, there's nothing wrong with going to another country and to see what their experts say.
Yep.
But what he's doing is he's fishing around for people who's going to say what he wants to hear.
Oh, that's right. Spot on.
Right. So he doesn't care whether it's an Australian. So if he wants an Australian expert, he can go and ask Rowan Dean. He knows everything as well, just like Alan does.
They could have a panel of experts like Paul Murray, Rowan Dean, him, and Bolt.
Yeah.
What a team! That is a cabinet that could virtually run this country just on their own, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, we would rule the world with those four on top.
I won't take that to its natural conclusion, Avery. The on top's part of that. But yes, they could set up the Sky News cabinet.
Yeah.
You know, and they could advise Dan Andrews on what he should be doing, and Gladys on hers, and Anastasia on hers, and they could probably set this country on the right track altogether.
Absolutely. I have complete and utter faith in them, I do.
Are we missing out on an opportunity here to achieve greatness through great people such as those 4 or 5?
I think that if we were to rely upon those 4 or those particular 4 or 4 like them, that we are doomed.
Well, that's the other alternative. Okay, let's just get back to my buddy.
And are nothing more than a comfort blanket. He made the very valid point that microscopic viruses travel through the air, and masks have gaps in them up to 5,000 times bigger than COVID particles. The professor said the public were demanding something must be done. They got masks. It's just a comfort blanket.
Hold on, Avery. Let's just have a think.
His mother should not be deprived of a comfort blanket when he was a kid. He's like Linus Van Pelt with his on the Snoopy the Peanuts cartoon strip, with his little was it Linus? But who
was
a security blanket?
Yeah, it was a security blanket, and and like that, does he think we're crazy? So he says, what is it? A virus is something 500th time what's. Of course, it's bigger than 500. Of course, we don't think that a cloth is so well sealed that if it was so well sealed, it would be a leather thing, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be. A cloth allows us to breathe in and out, obviously. Otherwise, we'd friggin' suffocate, you moron. So. Of course stuff does in there. The point is, as we said before, Avery, it just lessens the potential.
Yeah.
For
the thing that you inhale isn't a virus. It's droplets of moisture that somebody's exhaled.
That's right.
That contain the virus. Right. That mask, whether it's the paper ones like I've got wherever they are in there, or cloth masks, right? Yeah. They capture that moisture.
The globule. That's right. No, right? I think he thinks that it's a that there's these little viruses, like little creatures, and they crawl out of your mouth, and then they look for a place to go, and they see your nose or your mouth or some other orifice, and then they sort of say, "Hello, here's a place to go," and they dive in. They're smart little devils.
And when he says viruses travel through the air, what the picture he's painted is of that little creature, which is not a little creature. There's a large debate whether viruses are actually alive or not. Right? They're just a tiny little strand of RNA.
So you're now going to make them a creature. You're going to give them arms and legs.
He makes it sound as though the virus, as I say, a microscopic strand of RNA, is flying through the air all by itself, and it sees the mouth or it sees the nose and says, "Oh, there's my target." Right?
Yeah.
A virus is like Alan Jones, mindless.
I like it. That's so good. Yeah, I bought one of these today when I was out. Oh, very becoming.
A face bra.
Yeah, actually, it's one of my wife's. I just got one side. or or otherwise, do you remember the jockey straps?
Oh, yeah.
Jockey straps, yeah. Don't have them these days. They wear little shorts, but it kind of reminds me of that. You know, put your little testicles in there. Never big enough for me, mate. Never big enough.
No.
So, anyway.
I'd get lost in it.
I wouldn't invite you to come down there anyway, mate. You don't. What are you talking about? Oh, dear me. This is getting rough. Anyway, okay, let's just have a listen.
And we are entrenching bad behaviour. He said all around the world, you look at mask mandates and superimpose them on infection rates, you cannot see that mask mandates have made any effect whatsoever. Professor Axon went on, the best thing you can say about any mask is that any positive effect it does have is too small to be measured. Well, now to this business about the protest last weekend. At no stage have I ever condoned anything.
Can you stop it?
I will. Hold on.
Illegal protests.
Yep, go for it.
Right. What he said there was bullshit. When COVID first started up, when it was really picking up, there was quite a strong infection rate. And then when people started wearing masks, not so much in the United States because they're crazy. Alan Jones should move there where he belongs. Not so much in the United States, but when people started wearing masks, the numbers of infections plateaued. All right, and then they started to drop down. So what he said there is just pure bullshit.
I also like the way he sort of is finished with that point. You know, I've said my bit. I've got my expert that we don't see or know or check out. But anyway, I've got my expert, so he has to be everybody's expert. Finished with that point. I'm moving on. Yep. And then he starts talking about the next issue. You know, like, we don't really need to discuss this any further because I'm right. So let's hear what else he has to say.
In all my comments last night, I was highlighting the deep concern expressed to me by people suffering from blanket lockdowns. They can't go on, but they are going to be extended, I understand. But there may be some money forthcoming from Canberra. The politicians are getting nervous. I'll come to that in a moment. Let me say this clearly. If, as is the case, the Police Commissioner in New South Wales, Mick Fuller, very decent man, is telling people this weekend not to protest, which presumably, according to the language, means any such protest would be illegal, then there must be no illegal protest. That's simple. I repeat, if the Police Commissioner is saying don't, and what's more, anyone defying him will be met with the full force of the law, then my simple statement is you don't break the law. You don't provoke the police and you don't protest.
Right. Now, I find, Avery, this is interesting because because I wonder whether he could get into legal jeopardy if he suggested to people that they go and protest. Could he be inciting a resurrection?
I don't think so, because you're not telling people to go out there and take up arms and beat the shit out of the cops and out of politicians.
No. But if you encourage someone to break the law, is that? Can you be a party? Can you be a party? Look, I'm not a lawyer, you know, in case you don't know.
Yeah. Should he face consequences for some of the things he says? Absolutely. Should they be legal consequences? I'm not so sure, because I am a strong advocate for freedom of speech. We should not muzzle a person like that, even though he deserves muzzling, because you can't argue against what somebody says if you don't allow them to say it.
No, that's true, and you can't argue against stupidity, mate. It's just stupidity. So, that's an interesting question though. Out of those one or two people that will watch this video, apart from us, I wonder whether if you're a public figure and you encourage people to do something that you know is against the law, I wonder if you can hold accountable for any crimes that may be committed by those people.
I would think probably not.
Okay, so if I said to a guy who I was working with, look, I don't like my next door neighbour, but I'd really appreciate it if you go there and beat the crap out of him.
If you're that guy that you're talking to decides that he's going to go and do it, right? Your defence is, I was just expressing my frustration at my next door neighbour.
But he trusts
I-
you, and he believes that
and I-
that's what you wanted him to do.
But I didn't realize that he would take me seriously.
Oh, right. Now you're
Right. Now-
you're defending Donald Trump now.
Now, you say to your friend, I don't like my next door neighbor. Mm-hmm. Right? Here's a 14-pound sledgehammer. Go around and beat the shit out of him with it. And he goes around and beats the shit out of your next door neighbor with this 14-pound sledgehammer. Then I think you would be in legal jeopardy because you've armed him. You've said, "Here, use this."
No. No, this
But
is.
to say, it's like if you have an argument, you have an argument with your wife and you say, "Oh, I could kill you." Do you really mean that you could kill her, or are you just expressing your frustration?
I know. You're talking about just the other day, or what?
Well, whenever you
whenever.
said, you get in an argument with somebody and you say something like that. Does that really mean that you want to kill them?
Yes,
And the answer is most likely not.
See, you're using the mafia defence now, because people in the mafia and Donald Trump's ilk, they talk in code, don't they? So they can say something which can be interpreted by the other person because they know the code that person's got to go.
So if you say to your wife, "I could kill you,"
No, it's not. No. That's
No,
not a good example.
no, it's not. If you said to your wife, because you're in the heat of an argument, and not that you ever argue with D, but let's say you were, and in the heat of that argument, you said, "I could kill you." Does that really mean that you want to kill her? The answer is no.
No, that's not my point.
Your point? Well, what is it? I can't see what the point is. You're saying that you're saying that.
I was going to say.
You're saying it's a code.
I was going to say, get a job with Sky News.
You're saying it's a code.
I'm saying,
or
yes.
somebody takes it as a code.
Okay. So that often it's hard to prosecute. See, we're talking about some stuff I never thought we'd talk about. So it's hard to prosecute a mafia boss, for example, primarily because it's hard to prove that they actually gave the order.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why it's hard to prove that they actually gave the order is because they talk in code. So they could say, I want you to go down and pick up for me a stack of 2 kilogram sugar.
Yeah, and sugar means cocaine or heroin.
Well, that's right. Yeah. So therefore,
I'd like you to deal with that problem we were talking about.
Right? I'd like you to get rid of the trash.
Yeah, take the trash out.
Take the trash out in my backyard.
Yeah.
Right. Stuff like that, I guess. So,
yeah.
So I reckon that. I think that Sky News now, and this also is the Murdoch press generally, are being very careful about what they need to say because they've now changed in the US to start talking about vaccinations as if it was their idea in the first place.
Yeah.
And so we've got Hannity and Tucker
Carlson.
Yeah, got him. And
the guy that always looks like a stunned mullet.
Yeah, stunned mullet with he used to wear a bow. Does he still wear the bow tie or not?
Yeah, he does.
I think, all right. Yes, so they're all having to toe the line now because I think that the media is fearful that they may be in jeopardy, some sort of jeopardy, or responsibility, liability, or accountability for some of the crazy things they say, and the fact that puts people at risk.
Yeah, you heard what Fox News said about Tucker Carlson. They said we didn't expect people to take what he had to say seriously. Well, I'd like to hear Sky News in Australia say, we didn't expect people to take Alan Jones, Paul Murray, Andrew Bolt, Rowan Dean seriously. And,
you know Alex Jones?
Yeah.
I bet you don't know him personally, thank God.
No, not personally.
But you know his that wars thing. What does he call it? What's his show called? Anyway, conspiracy theorist extraordinaire.
Yeah.
He goes to his wife. So he's divorcing. I don't know if you know this story, but he was divorcing his wife. Lucky her, I reckon. And in the divorce case, he had to say that what he does is performance art. So he doesn't mean what he's saying. He is a performer, right? And it's just an art form where he's doing this thing and so on. So that was why he couldn't lose his kids or whatever it was that he was going to lose. So he can't be taken seriously. Now, I wonder whether people like Alan Jones, Paul Murray and others are all part of performance art. Like,
They are.
Do they really... Is this a performance, or do they really believe the crap that they're saying?
I think I think a lot of it is a performance. And the thing is, as well, is if somebody tells a lie about themselves, right? Trump, I'm the greatest expert on tax the world has ever seen. If he keeps on repeating that, the election was rigged, right? The election was rigged. The election was rigged. He keeps on saying it. He ends up believing his own lie.
Yep.
Alan Jones, he panders to the right-wing conspiracy theorist, flat Earth brigade. I think he's just pandering to them. I think he believes some of the crap that he says, right? But a lot of it, I think he's just doing it because he knows it'll stir people up.
And I think it's also about a bit playing to the base stuff.
Yeah.
So, they know what their base is. They're the...
Trump.
What is their base, I wonder?
I say Trump throwing red meat to the people who don't want to see, to the white people who don't want to see brown people coming into the United States.
Yeah.
Right? The sort of thing Jones is saying is most people don't have a problem with somebody with people going out protesting.
Yeah.
But an awful lot of those people a lot of protests are most protests don't turn violent, but some do.
Yeah.
And when they turn violent, he will be opposed to them because cops get hurt. I don't want to see the cops getting hurt either. That thing that went on the weekend that he's talking about, there was some violence in there. Some guy punched a horse. What did the horse do to him? Nothing. He just happened to have a cop on top of it.
Yeah, I don't know whether he or Paul Murray plays that bit. And when you see it on the video, it doesn't look like he is actually punching the horse. And I don't really care whether that was exaggerated or not. I couldn't give a rat's ass.
Well, there's a clip of video that you can see where he makes contact with the horse just on this side of its face.
Yeah, so why is he pushing it away with his fist anyway? Wouldn't you push it away with your hand?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Why does he want to push it away? The horse is not doing him.
Why is he
got
pushing?
to do is walk away.
Well, exactly. And why would you push a horse away in the head? Why would you just try and push their body away? Oh, well, maybe that's because there's a cop sitting on top of it.
Yeah, and the cop's got a stick
and a gun.
And a gun. Well, the cop's not going to use his gun. Not there.
Why not?
Because they're trained not to. They're not.
Why are they carrying their guns if they're trained not to use them?
Because the bad guys. A lot of bad guys carry guns, but the cops carry the guns. Yeah, a lot of them, not all of them.
Where do bad guys?
Probably not even a majority, but some bad guys carry guns. Cops carry guns. The UK police don't, and they solve many crimes.
I watch a lot of television and crime series. You know what? In the America, the cops, the cops in Britain don't, But when they call out for armed assistance, like a situation where you'd normally just have 2 or 3 guys and you'd all carry guns, whatever, they have a friggin' army turn up.
Oh yeah.
Guys turn up in these trucks and buses and pull out.
But the Yanks will do that for a traffic stop.
That's true. We must have a conversation about degeneration. Did you get to see those videos?
I haven't had a chance yet. I've been busy.
Have a look, and then one day we'll get on board here and we'll play excerpts from some of those videos because God, they're funny. Okay,
let's Alan Jones.
Back to my buddy.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy of this, because last June the police approved the Black Lives Matter protests, and we've seen demonstrators on climate change during coronavirus walk the streets without masks, no social distancing, and no penalties. But people who demonstrated against the loss of freedoms are facing penalties.
Okie dokie. Stop.
We saw when the Black Lives Matter protests were approved last year, there were no mask mandates. People were advised to wear masks, but there was no mandates. There was no lockdown. So the people that went out on these Black Lives Matter protests were not breaking any laws. They weren't disobeying a mandate to wear masks.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought.
But
too.
notice, Black Lives Matter is a progressive movement.
Yep.
Right. Alan Jones is, if he's progressing,
he's
progressing further to the right.
He's a digressive movement.
Yeah.
Does that make
sense?
sense?
Alan Jones, not digressive, he's regressive.
Oh, regressive, even better.
Regressive.
Yeah.
He always strikes me as he wants the good old days of the 1950s when women knew their place and so did coloured people and things like that. Right? And a woman's place was in the home, and what was it? I'm sure that if he'd been doing this sort of job now in the 1950s, he'd have been advocating for the White Australia policy.
Oh, good point. Yep, I agree.
But those protests that he's talking about last year that were approved, they were approved by the you've got to apply to the police for the permission. They got the permission. They went out. They did their protest. There was some little bits of violence in there, right? Not a huge amount. The violence didn't come from the Black Lives Matter protesters starting it. It was thugs that support Alan Jones that weighed in.
Yeah.
Right, and the BLM protesters responded.
Well,
right.
Yeah.
He, as I say, the protesters. There was no mask mandate at the time, not in New South Wales, or I don't know about Victoria, because they keep chopping and changing. In South Australia, we had protests. There was no mask mandates here at the time.
Yep.
He's just lying. He's just making shit up because so he can throw red meat to his base.
I reckon that sums it up pretty damn well. Actually, that's what he does. We've in this half an hour we've been discussing this video. We've travelled 2 minutes 35 seconds into the video. God, we're hopeless. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear more of his tripe?
Yeah.
Actually, I've got a clip here with Peter Creglin's talking about being gobsmacked at what Daniel Andrews has done. That was about. I must play that at some point. We could do a segment just on Sky News.
Yeah.
I reckon an hour every day just on Sky News would be good. Here's some more.
There should be a quid pro quo here. Don't march, don't protest, don't promote violence, don't defy the police. But could the government then demonstrate its bona fides, saying it's not going to find people from last weekend who are on the bare bones of their backside, let alone put people in jail for animal cruelty when it's clear.
Now, here we go.
The young bloke was trying to avoid being injured by a horse. The law should absolutely be used to deal with the real rabble-rousers, the troublemakers, anybody threatening or committing acts of violence. But let's see some compassion for the ordinary men and women.
Did you want to stop there, mate?
Yeah, that bit where you see the guy with that horse.
Yeah.
There's another clip of video where you see the horse from front on, and you can clearly see the horses, the guy's fist hitting the horse just around that area there.
Yeah.
Right. That video doesn't show it. The thing with these protests that he's on about there, they weren't, a freedom protest. They wanted their freedom to not wear masks and things like that, to not get vaccinated, right? Well, if they want to live in a society where they don't have to work cooperatively, if you like, for everybody's benefit, well, why don't they go and live in Greenland? There's nobody or go down to the Antarctic, or somewhere like that, and live down there. I don't care. They can all go there.
So you're suggesting that
deport them to Siberia.
You're taking on the anti-immigrants approach, are you? Like the fascist approach, Avery. That if you don't like where you live, go away.
No, I'm saying if they don't know, if they think that our laws don't apply to them, go and live somewhere else.
I agree. I
mean, when you get a vaccination, it's protecting you. It's also protecting others.
Yeah. Right.
When you wear a mask, it's providing you with some protection. It's providing other people with protection. Because if you've inhaled the If you've got the COVID virus inside of you and you breathe out, and you're not wearing a mask, you're spraying that into the atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And if somebody else is not wearing a mask and they've got COVID, they're spraying it into the atmosphere. And if you've got the mask, it's going to reduce your risk. It's not going to remove it. These protesters were.
That's disappointing.
Yeah, these protesters were. It was all about. I don't want to wear a mask. I don't want to get a vaccine.
Yeah.
The government can't force me to wear a mask. They can't. They're not forcing anybody. They're just saying if you don't, we're going to fine you.
Yeah.
No, they're not stopping them. And it's like with the vaccinations, nobody's knocking on somebody's door and saying, "Bear your arm." Nobody's putting a gun to somebody's head.
Bear your arm. Oh,
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Nobody's putting a gun to a person's head and saying, "Get vaccinated or else."
Yeah.
That's a very nice healthy body you'd be there. You've got there. Be a pity if something was to happen to it. You get a vaccination and it won't happen. Nobody's doing that.
Yep. Someone posted something on Facebook that I found quite offensive. So I thought I'll be offensive back. So I wrote back saying you're an idiot. But the thing was that they were saying, like this comparison that people make. Okay. Do you know of anybody who's got the vaccine?
I do.
Well, I don't. Well, I know. I'm not asking a question.
Or in this house.
It's a
4 vaccines in this house. Me and Sasha, 2 each.
It's a generic question. It's a rhetorical question. So they asked this question: do you know of anybody who's got the vaccine? I think there's 2 answers to this. The first thing you need to say is you're an idiot, which I did. The second thing you say is, actually, the reason why there are so few people with the vaccine in this country is because the government's done all the things that they have in order to put like lockdowns and all the other stuff that we've done to prevent the spread and quarantine and medi hotels, the whole bit. We've been pretty good at all of that, and we're an island. Ha ha. And the other thing too is. It's like saying. So I responded actually to this person. I said,
I know exactly the post you mean. I remember seeing it.
And I said, well, I better tell our public about it though, Avery.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I said, okay, but because I don't know anybody who currently has cancer, doesn't mean that we've eliminated cancer. It's the same. It's that argument that because I don't know anybody who's got something, then it just can't be. It can't be in existence.
Real.
Yeah. It's like, how can I? I just thought of something else really funny. And it's not even related, but I have to tell you. So I was watching this thing on YouTube about. So it was a BBC. Well, no, it was one of the respectable stations in the UK.
So not Sky or Fox then?
No, it wasn't Sky or Fox. And they were talking about climate change. And they were saying that, what temperature do you think in the UK would determine when it's a heat wave?
About 33, 34 degrees?
No, 25.
25.
It's 25 degrees. So we had a good old laugh. 25 degree. It's cold. I mean, it's a pleasant day here in Australia, but it's relatively cool. But for them, apparently, anything over 25 for a number of days.
Well, what part of the country were they talking about? Because I know that when I lived in East Anglia, 33 was when they started talking about heat waves, and we have had when I was living in East Anglia. I mean, this was in the 1980s. In the 1970s, 1976, I was living at a place called Marham in Norfolk, which is in East Anglia. We had the longest, hottest summer that the UK had in something like 120 years. We had temperatures of 42 degrees on a couple of occasions. It was a long, long summer, and it was a huge drought that we had that lasted for months. Drought in the UK is rare.
So they had, they're softies. I mean, I know you used to be one yourself, but you're a soft bunch, seriously, because they were saying that in 2020 they had like 2,500 deaths due to heat, right? And they're saying if the temperature is over 25 for an extended period of time, they'd have, triple that amount of deaths. And I'm thinking, how many people die in Australia when the temperature is 25 degrees?
The difference between Australia and the UK is people here are used to the higher temperatures, and people here have generally got air conditioning in the house, and air conditioning is not very common in the UK.
Now, actually, they did raise that point too, Avery, thanks. They did say that one of the biggest disappointments is in the development of new housing, given that it's going to get this terribly, sorry, I keep laughing at it, this terribly hot temperature of 25 degrees, that housing isn't built to consider that, what you're just saying, appropriately cooling places so that they're not going to get overheated. So anyway, I just thought I'd just pass that on to you.
Houses in the UK are built more for heating it in the winter rather than keeping it cool in the summer.
Yeah, and they're also closely packed together. Their body heat keeps everybody else warm.
Yeah,
I know the way it is. I've been to the UK. Yeah. Okay.
Back to Alan Jones.
Oh, God, we're digressing a bit.
Find an answer to infection rates which don't involve mounted police, Polair and fear. The answer to all this is pretty simple. It should have happened when coronavirus was first identified. Protect the vulnerable. That's what the Prime Minister said on the 15th of March last year. That means
you stop that.
Southwest Sydney, then protect these people.
Yes, go for it,
Okay.
Avery. Yep.
You've got to find a way when it started to protect the people. There were no vaccines available at the time. There was no masks available.
Good point.
There were masks, but they weren't available in the quantities that was necessary to protect the people. And the most important people that at the time to get those masks wasn't the little old lady or the little old man living in an aged care centre. It wasn't a 70-year-old or 69-year-old as I was at the time, like me, with other health conditions. It was the nurses and the doctors who were dealing with the people who got COVID. Because if the masks hadn't gone to the doctors and the nurses at that time, then we'd have been losing doctors and nurses, and we'd have ended up with nobody to look after those who did get COVID.
Oh, spot on.
Right? So what the government did was they allocated the masks and all the other PPE as much as they could to the medical professionals who are helping those who are getting COVID, and said to other manufacturers, we need more masks, we need more masks, we need more masks, until we got to the state when there was sufficient that anybody can go out and buy them dirt cheap.
Yep.
Yeah, so Alan Jones, he's talking about he said that they shouldn't be using fear. Well, what does he think he's doing right now?
Yeah, it's spot on. Well, they propagate the fear though, Avery. This is part of the deal.
Yeah.
I just had a quick, while you were chatting there away, I was letting you go because I just had a look at Twitter to see if we were doing our thing live on Twitter. On Twitch, and I want you to know we are.
Oh, good.
Isn't that exciting? I don't know.
Yeah.
We have nobody watching us there as well, but that's what makes this show exciting. The only two people involved are you and I. Isn't that stimulating?
Works for me.
It does for me as well. It does for me. It just goes to show what boring old farts we really are.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the man.
Yeah.
Is the answer. I'll come to that in a moment. I am not the government.
Oh, no, you're not.
Down whole communities, pay them so that they can survive.
He thinks he is.
Or do
Yeah,
better.
hallelujah. He's the government.
Thank
This is
God.
what we're doing, and the collateral damage is you'll go broke, lose your job, but you'll be given $600. And I know that won't even pay the rent. You'll have to educate the kids at home. I know that's damaging to them. What kind of thoughtless, inconsiderate and selfish government behaves in this way?
You.
Is this New South Wales government
Yep.
totally lacking in conscience and decency? Show some goodwill, provide some hope, withdraw the
Provide
fines
some
from
hope.
Saturday, appeal with decency rather than fear for people to stay at home. Don't protest, but we'll look after you. Stop demonising decent people who are not buffheads, idiots or half-wits. They are, pardon the language, poor bastards who are desperate. I know that Britain, which has had a week of freedom, is seeing a sustained fall in reported coronavirus cases. Yes, 3 million people have died. But the British Ombudsman says it's not enough. 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 It's not Vaccinations do limit hospitalisation.
Oh, look, I've got to talk about this, though, Avery.
Yeah.
This is what fascinates me about this dude. Did you see that? To bring it up again, this graph he shows, right?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether you can make any sense of that graph just by seeing it like that. Do you?
If I could read what it's saying, the total number of infections in the United States is 33,973,919. Employment is down minus 4.4%. UK is down. Yeah, okay, I can see some things in it.
Okay, my point is that if you're gonna present anything on television or anywhere else, your graphs need to be precise and big.
Clear.
And clear,
Yeah.
right? Would you agree with that? Right?
Yep.
Now, there's nothing precise and clear about this bloody graph. It's a massive colours. What?
Can you throw it back up again?
Yeah, well, here it comes. There we go. Can you tell me what that is? I can't even tell you what that's saying, and I've got it right on the screen next to me. Latest daily totals up the top. UK. So I can tell you that the UK is 42,000. The United States is 31. The UK has half the population, less than half the population, or more. Less than half the population of the US.
A lot less. It's about
a third.
UK population is about 66 million. The US population is 330. So it's about five times smaller.
Yep. So to me, they're racing ahead, buddy. And if you compare that with Australia, I don't know if Alan Jones at the moment actually does mention that, but right. So where's Australia? Oh fuck, 108.
Yeah.
Bottom. And New
108 daily total. The thing that this would have been it would have been better for him to put a graph up or a chart up that showed what it was like, say, a month ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, this week, right? And then compare what the UK was doing with what Australia was doing.
Yeah, he needs to do what our mate Casey does on the ABC. You know, Casey, what's his name? You ever watch that? He does a thing on the COVID thing, and he has that graph, and he has bar charts, and he does the graphs that, like where were we, 3 weeks ago, whatever.
Yeah.
Where are we on the average of 7 days? So this man hasn't got a graphic artist working for them at Sky. It is quite plain.
He probably threw that together in Excel.
There's probably a job opportunity for you there, Avery. You thought about that?
Yeah. Working for Alan Jones? No thanks.
Oh, well, fair enough. But
I'd rather starve.
So anyway, his point is what? That he makes a confusing graph? What was his point?
Well, I don't know, because that graph doesn't. I would need to be able to get a proper look at it with readable text and things like that to try and make some sense out of it. I'm sure I could make some sense out of it.
So So on the right-hand side, they've got the employment rate, right? It's down for everybody.
Yeah.
Hello. It's down for everybody except for Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea. Actually.
Yeah.
And we have 1.2 increase over this period since 2020, since February 2020.
Yeah.
At the top. So I don't know how current all this is.
Well, with the United States, they got to about 18% unemployment or something like that.
Yeah.
And since the beginning of the year, when the vaccinations all started, Biden's got 50% of the population fully vaccinated now.
Yeah.
Unemployment has been dropping all the time.
Yeah, he hasn't got 50% of the population vaccinated if you live in the South, though.
If you look at the overall population, take the entire country, he's got 50% overall.
Yeah.
But when you look at places like Alabamistan or Louisianistan, the deep south, the United States of Jesus land, you look at that lot, then you've got fully vaccination is down in the 20s and the 30s, and 60, 70, 75% say, I'm not going to get that vaccine. You can't make me take that vaccine. You can't make me wear a mask. It's my right to not do it.
So you could.
And back to these protests, that's what they were on about as well. You can't make me take this vaccine.
Yeah. Some of them were. Others were thinking, well, we're unemployed, we need some more money, that sort of stuff, which I think is fair enough too.
Me too.
They've got it's got vaccination rates 56%. I'll put it back up.
Yep.
Again. So it says vaccinations. So partial. I'll do total. In the US, it's 48%. France, UK is 53%, right? But their jobless rate, so think about this. So their jobless rate is down 1.3%, right? America is down 4.4%.
Yeah.
Right? We, with a very small number of people vaccinated, are at 1.2% plus. Right?
Yeah.
So what that tells me, Avery, because I am a sociologist of extreme educational qualifications, I believe, therefore, that it is best not to vaccinate your population because it will increase employment.
Well, the difference between the United States and here is here we've got a minimum wage, and in the United States they haven't. If you live in the United States and you can either get that $600 a week or whatever it is that they get paid, or you can go to work for $2.50 an hour, which are you going to do?
I'm going to move to Iceland. I don't care.
I'd like to move to. I've been there 3 times. It's a fantastic country.
I believe so. So.
They got those damn volcanoes in there, but you can live with them.
Well, could they live with us? This is the point we need to be asking. Okay, let's just hear what more.
This table, only 53%, as at last Friday, were fully vaccinated. In fact, the fully vaccinated figures are interesting. UK 53%, have a look at the table. US 48, fully vaccinated. Italy 41, Sweden 36, Japan 20, Australia, well, that's now 16. On that table, it's 11, New Zealand 10. Now, as I said, the reduction in cases outside of lockdown in Britain is significant. There are other ways of managing all this.
You're a joke.
Shutting the nation down. We're tired of the most overused line for the last 18 months. Everything's justified on the medical advice. The New South Wales strategy has failed. Berejiklian and the Prime Minister talk about everyone must be vaccinated. Well, here's a message to me today, amongst many. Quote,
now I love this bit. Avery. So, this is what he does. So, he says that he probably gets 3 or 4 emails a day. He probably gets more than that. But anyway, let's say he gets 3 or 4 emails a day and he picks them out and he says, these are the ones that people are talking about because they fit with his narrative. I reckon if I send him an email saying, you're a real dickhead, and that no one on this planet really believes anything that you say.
He's not going to read that one out.
Do you think? No, I don't think he will.
It's like when he went to that UK expert, right? Confirmation bias. He looked for somebody that said what he wanted them to say.
Yeah.
I get every day. I get probably 3, 4, 5 dozen emails just on the Child Protection Party. I get a similar number in my private email and not quite as many in the Riley Foundation. But I get maybe 120 emails a day, something like that. I'd imagine that Jones, being much more well known than I am, nobody knows me, but I imagine that he probably gets hundreds a day, and he could, if he got 1,000 in one day, and 999 of them said, "I went and booked my vaccine jab and I got it done within 4 hours." And one said, "I was turned down," like this thing that you had up just a moment ago. That's the one he's going to read out. Confirmation bias again.
Yeah, and exactly, because he needs someone else to support his way of thinking. Or otherwise, see, it'd be a very lonely place at Sky News, wouldn't it, if one person thought differently to the rest? I don't reckon they'd survive for very long.
Well, you are presuming that some of those people there think.
Well, and we were talking about performance art earlier. Do they actually believe do they all sit around and think and say to each other afterwards, well, that was a really good con job, wasn't it? Didn't believe a word I said today, but boy, I got all these people excited about the fact that the virus is a hoax. Aren't I clever? Yeah. What a wanker. Let's go.
Yep.
My own medical clinic for a jab. It's a big, successful family practice with 6 to 8 doctors. Their next available space for me was not until Sunday, August 8. They can only offer AstraZeneca because they can't get any Pfizer. In this community, I'm told by the letter today, medical people have said at the rate of available vaccines, it'll take nearly 2 years to vaccinate the city at the speed of the pace they're moving.
Hold on.
People are suffering because...
Firstly, he gave, in the first part there, he gave a date whereby when the person could get the vaccine. He doesn't say what the community was. Was it a tiny little hamlet in Boondocks, New South Wales, or was it Parramatta? Right. If it was a major suburb in New South Wales, this surgery that's got 6 or 8 GPs in there, for all he knows, which he doesn't say, we don't know. It could well be the case that they are, they've got plenty of vaccine, but they're fully booked up till the 8th of August or whatever the date was.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's that second one, the AstraZeneca. There's plenty of it. Right. The government, there would be even more if the government hadn't given 220 million doses to Indonesia. Right. Promised they were going to give 200. They've earmarked 220 million doses for Indonesia. I'm not sure whether they've actually given it yet. And the Pfizer vaccine is the stocks are only just being starting to build up now. They should be getting them. I mean, I don't think the federal government has done a great job of getting people vaccinated. And the other thing that he said about it's going to take up to 2 years. The federal government has said it's going to take up to 2 years. It's not just some random dude that wrote in. It's people looking at the rate at which vaccinations are taking place and saying, okay, we've got 26 million people in Australia. We've got 18 million that need to be fully vaccinated, because we don't know about children yet. How long is it going to take at this rate to vaccinate everybody? And it's also taking into account the idiots who say vaccines cause autism and shit like that. And we've got to persuade those idiots to get the vaccine.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. In fact, I won't agree more. I'll agree just equally.
Yeah.
So we'll just mosey on from there. I was going to say something very profound about all of that, and then I put my headset down because it's raining like crap outside.
Yeah.
Let's hear.
There's no other way of putting it. I mentioned the case of the person at the weekend who filled out all the forms and was told that he didn't qualify for vaccination. There are people in the Berejiklian government who don't agree with the strategy of punishing everyone. But Gladys Berejiklian, who's completely lost control of the situation, refuses to hold party room meetings, refuses to recall the parliament. Who is representing the people who are struggling? This is
certainly not Alan Jones.
Oh no! This is the point.
6 million Australians.
This is the point. This is his argument, isn't it? Maybe that he thinks that he's the one representing all of these people. So he's the Father Christmas, God, Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene. He's all of these people wrapped up into one.
Yeah.
And is doing such a fabulous job. So there was some word too that he was going to go back to 2GB because their ratings had dropped since he left.
He should go back to 2GB. Great Britain. We don't need him here.
I like it. Absolutely.
Can I ask you a quick question? How long have we been going now?
1 hour and 8 minutes.
Oh, well, should we make it 1:15 and then call it quits?
We should call it quits anyway.
Yeah, because looking at the time, I've got other things I've got to get done before a couple of meetings tonight.
You got it. Well, I'm attending one of those, I think. Are you attending part of that first one or not?
The first one I think finishes at 8:30.
All right. Oh, does it? All right. So you'll join the other one. My meeting.
I might have to leave the Vic team meeting early.
All right. Okay. Anyway, either way, it's been kind of fun though.
Yeah.
You thought it was fun doing our thing?
Yeah,
today?
I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this.
Okay, so we could do it again. I've got what I think we'll do. We'll leave it at this. But what I think we'll do next time, Avery, is I'll just bring up Sky News stuff, right? And then at random, we will play something that some of these crazy people have said, and then we'll discuss it.
Yeah.
So not even we won't have a look at it beforehand necessarily, even though I guess we might be able to look at some of it, and we'll just play it and then have a conversation about it.
Yep. Works for me.
Because I think it's stimulating, to say the least.
And we've got to do that Degeneration Nation one as well.
Oh, when you've got a chance, just for a bit of laugh, and it's a rabbit hole that's really quite fascinating to go down.
Yeah.
Crazy people out there, man, and we're probably some of them to some people.
Yeah, we are.
All right, buddy. I wish you the best, and we'll catch you later on, and we'll catch everybody again at some particular point on Twitch, on YouTube, for Wise, Witty, and Wib. Thanks, everybody. Catch you later on. Be good and be safe.